Hi, and welcome to question 3 of the Leaving Cert Ordinary Level Paper 1 in 2021. If you want to copy the notes I'm working off, just send me an email to shanetroy@gmail.com. And if you like these videos, just subscribe to get access to more playlists. So question 3 here seems to be an algebra question, and it's worth 10 marks. So part A says, show that x is equal to 4 is a solution of the equation x squared minus 2x minus 8. Okay. So just to get the brain going, I'm going to rewrite that equation. Now, I know it's a quadratic because it's all the same variable and the biggest power is 2. So this will have a certain shape if you're asked to draw it, but we're not being asked to graph it here. We're being asked to show that x equal to 4 is a solution. Now, a quadratic always has two solutions. Well, not always. Sometimes it has two solutions. And if something is a solution, when you sub it in, it should end up equaling the other side. So in this case, if I can make the C, or just check, does the left-hand side equal the right side? If they do, it is a solution. So I'm going to substitute 4 instead of x all the way through the equation. Now, once you remember that's what you have to do, at this stage, even just by subbing all that in, you're up here. Now, I can't say if it's 3 or 7. It just depends on the scheme that year, but you're on the way. And then it's just a matter of going left to right, as always. You can put the whole thing in the calculator or go just work it out. 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16. Then going left to right, minus by plus is minus, 2 fours is 8. And the minus 8 here doesn't change, equal to 0. So all I've done really there is apply the powers and done the multiplication. Okay, now the next thing I'll just do a bit at a time. I'm going to do the addition subtraction. So 16 take 8 is 8. Take another 8 is 0. So 0 equals 0. So therefore, x is equal to 4 is a solution. Now, whatever way you want to say that doesn't matter. And that's it. Now, in the notes, okay, I have it here written out, and I've basically tried to say it there in, suppose, digital format, and hopefully that makes sense, okay? And that kind of particular technique is used a lot in, say, trying to see if something is, a point is on the circle, or like a few other places where that would be the strategy. Just to be kind of blunt in a way, if you were trying to BS this, like what else are you going to do? You have x's here, it's saying x is 4. Just if you had to choose something to do, putting 4, literally replacing 4 instead of x each time, is going to start you off here. Okay. Now, if you're subbing something in, always sub in brackets. Okay. If you're not sure, especially if you're not sure, and then just put it to the calculator. Okay. And then you're basically down here, and you're up on the 10 marks at that stage. Now we'll keep going. So part B here, we're 10 marks as well. Now it's a 10D scale, so we can pick up marks easier. A D scale just means there's more breakdowns. A C scale had 4, a D scale has 5. And it says here the equation x squared plus ax plus b equals 0. Now let's rewrite that. X squared plus ax plus b equals 0. Now at the moment, okay, x is an unknown. Okay, a is unknown and b is unknown. That's an equation of 3 unknowns. It's not solvable. Okay, we need to, in a sense, try something. Okay, now I should probably keep reading the question, may help. It says a and b are elements of z. That just means a and b are integers. Okay, integers are positive or negative whole numbers. It's not going to be a big deal until the end of the question. It says then, okay, so the equation, whatever, where a and b are elements of z, has solutions x is equal to 5 and x is equal to minus 2. Okay, so that's important. Let's underline that just to remember it. Find the values of a and the values of b. Now, let's assume you were stuck here and you're kind of unsure what to do. You're trying to get somewhere up on this. Now, ideally, you're trying to go for the 10, but look, needs be. If I was trying to BS this, and I go, it's just like part A, I see x equal to 5, so I'm going to put it in. So I'm right over here, x equal to 5, and I'm trying to organize my work so it makes sense to somebody grading it. Now, if you see what's happened here, okay, the a and b haven't disappeared, but the x has. If I go left to right and remove brackets, so 5 squared means 5 by 5, which is 25, plus a by 5 is the same thing as 5a, plus the b doesn't change. Now, doesn't seem very helpful. This is an equation of two unknowns, so it's still not solvable. But I've done something. I'm definitely up on 3. If I try the same thing with x is equal to minus 2, okay, so I'm going to put in brackets here, minus 2 squared plus a times minus 2 plus b is equal to 0. Now, just like before, I see brackets, I get rid of them. Minus 2 squared means minus 2 times minus 2, which is plus 4. Over here, plus by minus is minus. A by 2 is the same thing as 2a, plus the b is equal to 0. Now, again, I end up with a place, I have an equation of two unknowns. Like I could rearrange it, move things around, but I can't solve it. There's a trick here, though. I have two equations of the same two unknowns, a and b. And this is the method of simultaneous equations. It's a, in a sense, bog standard method, one of the many skills you need to know if you're trying to get a high grade in maths, okay? But even if you only got this far and stopped, like I'd have to look at the scheme again just to be sure. But I would be bet my life you're definitely on the 5. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you're on the 8, depending on the scheme and how it's applied in any specific year. Now, at this stage, okay, there's different methods I can do to try solve this, and ultimately, the most standard one would be if I wrote them on top of each other. I probably should take away some of the fluff. And then 4 minus 2a plus b equals 0. So I've written the two equations on top of each other. I'm trying to, in this particular method of simultaneous equations, I'm trying to join the equations together. Now, if I join together at the moment, I'd end up with what? 29 plus 3a plus 2b is equal to 0, which isn't going to help me because I still have two unknowns. However, if I was to get rid of this, if I was to look at trying to combine these two equations, but at the same time eliminating one of the unknowns, I could try to eliminate the a's or the b's. The b's are the same magnitude, so that's going to be easier. And what we'd normally do is we'd multiply the second equation here by minus 1. You can do whatever you want to an equation, as long as you do to every single term. Hopefully, it'll be something that's useful. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite the top line. I'm not doing anything to the equation on top, but I am doing something to the equation on bottom. I'm doing it to everything. So multiplying across by minus 1 just changes the sign of every term. Minus 1 by 4, minus by plus is minus, 1 by 4 is 4. Going across, minus by minus is plus, 1 by 2a is 2a. Now, minus 1 by b, minus by plus is minus, 1 by b is b. If you see what happens now, the b's are different signs. So when I combine this, they're going to disappear. So let's do it. 25 minus 4 is 21. Now 5a plus 2a is 7a. B take b is 0. It's gone. Okay, so I'm left with 21 plus 7a equals 0. This is an equation of one unknown, so it is solvable. Now, I want to leave my unknown on one side, so I'm going to try and move the 21. The easiest way to do that is to take it away. Do it to one side, must do it to the other. So you end up with 21 take 21 is gone. You're left with 7a is equal to negative 21. Now, ultimately, I'm asking 7 times some number gives negative 21 as an answer. The only value that will work there is if a is negative 3. But if I wanted to find this, I might come over here and do it. 7a is equal to negative 21. Now, if I want to get rid of the 7 here, one way to do it in algebra is to divide it by itself. Do it to one side, I must do it to 2. Okay, 7 divided by 7 gives you 1. You can write as 1a or just a is equal to minus divided by plus is minus. 21 divided by 7 is 3. I don't need the 1 there, so let's get rid of it so it's not confusing. Now, at this stage, I know what a is. So I can go back to any of the equations here. And maybe this mightn't be the best one to use, but look, let's use it. It doesn't matter. And I now know what a is. So if I put it in and substitute that with negative 3, I end up now with an equation of one unknown. And it's the other unknown, b. If I read them on the right track and look at this stage, you're definitely up on 8. I'm going to go left to right. 25 plus by minus is minus. 5 3s is 15. Plus the b, I'm not going to change that. Then looking here, I can combine them. 25 take 15 is 10, plus the b is equal to 0. Just do a bit of simplification. Then I can, when I get rid of the 10 here, I can take 10 away from it. Do it to one side, must do it to the other. Okay, what's going to happen here? 10 take 10 is 0, so you're left with b is equal to 0 take 10 is negative 10. So what are my values? Well, I found that a is negative 3, b is negative 10. Now, if I wanted to, I could check my answers. Okay, and I'm going to take, doesn't matter, I'll take the other equation. 4 take 2a plus b is equal to 0. Now, if the value minus 3 and minus 10 is correct, if I substitute them in to this equation, I should end up with a situation that left side equals right side. So I've done it here. Instead of the a, I put minus 3. Instead of the b, I put negative 10. Going left to right, 4 doesn't change. Minus 2 by minus 3 is minus is plus. 2 3s is 6. Then here, plus by minus leaves that as a minus 10. Now, you might see what's happening here. 4 plus 6 is 10. Okay, take away 10 is equal to 0. Excuse my bad writing. 10 take away 10 is 0. So 0 equals 0. This value of a and b are the correct value. Okay. Now, what this actually means is, with this quadratic, okay, you have, I suppose, two quadratics in essence, and you're simplifying them down to become linear, and then you're basically getting the intersection of the two lines. Now, that's often asked in a different question in coordinate geometry, and you might have to solve using simultaneous equations. I've seen this in some years being asked 3-4 times in an exam. So not having the skill can be really big, impotent to getting the right answer. That's B. So just in the notes, I'm trying to get this across. That's my substituting the 5 I was given, okay, and then substituting the negative 2 and getting my two equations. Okay, that's them there. Then I put them together, and I realized that I have to try get rid of one of the unknowns. I've chosen to do the B, which means I multiply by minus 1. That's the best way to do that. Once I've done that to the second equation, they cancel. You're left with one unknown. I just solve it out. Use that unknown in one of the equations, either this one or this one, and I've chosen this one, and I get the other value, and that's my two values. Both negative 3 and negative 10 are elements of Z. They are both negative whole numbers. So if I'd gotten a fraction there, it'd be an indication I've done something wrong. Now, that's part B. I don't know if there's a part C. There is. Now, it says, find the solutions of the equation. Okay, so we have 5x squared minus 2x minus 9 is equal to 0. It says where x is an element of order, it just means any number. Give each answer correct to two decimal places. So don't need to worry about that until the end. Now, again, this is quadratic. Okay, so quadratic has generally two solutions, and those solutions, if there are two, would represent where it crosses the x-axis. Okay, so let's say it looked like that. That's those 2 points. We're trying to find them. On this particular equation, I can see there that I think it crosses at negative 9, and yeah, I think that's all I can see from it. So I could try use the fast way of factorizing, where you open up two brackets, okay, and you find the two different values. And I know this because it's decimal. I know that's not the method. That would be the only reason that would work with simplicity is if the answers were whole numbers. Because they're decimals, there's so many numbers it could be that using that method isn't going to be effective. So I know that I have to use, I'll write over here, the minus b formula. X is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now let me just change that. My writing mightn't be good enough. A times c. Now to use this formula, this is called the quadratic formula. I need to know what a, b, and c are. And I'm given that in the question. By being given the quadratic, if I compare that to the general form, I can see that the a corresponds to the 5, the b corresponds to the negative 2, and the c corresponds to the negative 9. Now, once I've identified my A, B, and C, I'm going to substitute them into the quadratic formula. We're better off doing that in brackets because the minus by minus here, for example, is going to change signs. Let's just do it. So the minus 2 squared minus 4 times 5 times negative 9. So all I'm doing there is, instead of the B here, I put negative 2. Instead of the A, I put 5. Instead of the C, I put negative 9. And hopefully that's obvious there. All divided by 2 times 5. Now at that stage, I want to go, actually at that stage, I most certainly have the 7 marks. You've shown an awful lot of knowledge to get this far. To finish off, I just need to simplify, okay, and go left to right, top then bottom, and remove brackets. Minus by a minus changes that to a plus 2, plus or minus the big square root. Now, negative 2 squared means negative 2 times negative 2, which is 4, positive 4. The next thing there is a triple multiplication. Minus 4 times 5 is minus 20. Minus 20 by negative 9 is plus, what's 9 20s? I think it's 180. It is 180. Okay. I probably should use a calculator to double check that. But anyway, at the bottom there, 2 times 5 is 10. Now what's going to happen next, I'm running out of space, I'm going to do it here. The square root of 4 plus 180 is the same thing as the square root of 184. Just, again, I could rewrite it, but, just for space. Now at this stage, okay, that's my answer. There's two answers though. And if I write 1 with the positive, so 2 plus the square root of 184 over 10, or my answer could be 2 minus the square root of 184 over 10. Now, if I put them to the calculator, and no harm me doing that now just to show what I'm doing here. So take the top one, it's a fraction. 2 plus the square root of 184. Let's type it right, 184. On the bottom there, it's 10. So if I press equal, now it may express that as a simpler fraction. But if I convert that to a decimal, this is most likely an irrational number, okay, and I'm given the number 1.556. I could write further, but now is when I need to start thinking about the answer, the format they want it in. They want it in 2 decimal places, so the third decimal place is what matters. That's going to cause the number prior to it to go up by 1. So my answer there is 1.56. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the second answer. And in fact, for this one, all I need to do is go back within the calculation and change that to a negative. Okay, change that to a decimal, and I get negative 1.156. So negative 1.156. Now again, the 6 here makes the number prior to go up by 1. So my second answer is negative 1.16. And that's my two answers. So x is equal to 1.56 or x is equal to negative 1.16. I just paused the video and I said I could actually graph that. I know we're not being asked to do that in this particular question, but no harm. And you see there that this is it's a positive quadratic. Okay, so what I mean by that simply is looking back, it's a positive quadratic here, it's a positive on the x squared. Okay, I said that the last number there crosses at the y-axis at that number, which is negative 9, although that's not really relevant here. See, that's there at negative 9. We're actually finding is these two numbers here, the points where it crosses the x-axis. So remember, one of our answers was 1.56. Okay. Now, do you think that's 1.56? It's kind of halfway between 1 and 2, so it's legit, in my opinion. The other one was x is equal to negative 1.16. So that's negative 1, negative 2. So negative 0.16, yeah, that makes kind of sense. Okay. And that's it. Okay, so going back to the question. These particular equations have actual graphs behind them. It's not always as obvious. Sometimes you might be asked to graph them, but in this case, I don't think we are. And that's 3C. I'm trying to show it here in the notes that I have the quadratic, I compare it to the general form. Once I have the values of A, B, and C, although I didn't actually write them out here, probably should have, then I substitute them instead of the different letters, A, B, and C, in the quadratic formula. Once I'm here, I've done pretty good fairly decent chunk of marks. Now I think I've put that entire thing there in the calculator. And you can do that. All that square root can go in the calculator. And I got my square root of 184. And then I realized that there's two answers, the plus or the minus, and I've separated both ways. Put to the calculator and got my decimal answer, and it's all this. In this case, it's already rounded. Now, this 3C, this should be it. Okay, so that's question 3. As always, if you want to copy the notes I'm working off, just send me an email to shanetroy@gmail.com. If you like these videos, just subscribe to get access to more playlists. Thanks, man.